You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You good?
I'm good.
You good?
I'm great. How are you, sir?
Don't call me sir. I'm not Lewis Hamilton.
The amount of messages I got saying that you don't like
Lewis Hamilton? Why does everyone... he's like my boy. You know how you tease
Why
your
does
boy?
everyone say... He's not your boy.
No,
He's
you know how you
definitely
like...
your boy.
You know how you like somebody and you just tease them? That's Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah,
I like
you
to
do
tease
that
him.
with... You do that with me, though.
What else? Whatever, man. The guy's got it all, you know?
I mean,
He's like the best F1 driver. I got to tease him a little bit.
I think that you dislike him more than I do.
I love Lewis Hamilton. He's my fave.
Welcome to episode...
I do the intros, okay?
3. This many.
Hi, guys, and welcome to episode 3 of the F1 My Life podcast with Cam and Priya.
I think it should be Priya and Cam.
Because I'm the one who has to edit it. So I get the first name.
I think it's also because it's alphabetical.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's because it's alphabetical.
I don't know. Does
that mean you should take my last name?
Huh?
Cam, baby.
Jeez.
Just kidding. Yeah, it's been... I didn't even realize it's only been like a week since the race.
So this is episode 3, and we watched Imola. Imola. Is it
Imola?
Imola.
Like Emily, but Imola.
Imola. We're saying Imola a lot.
Imola?
We watched Imola.
Imola?
The Imola Grand Prix in Italy, and it was nuts.
It was so amazing.
It was nuts.
I will be honest, though, there was that 2 laps that I fell asleep because we were sleep deprived.
Did we? Oh, yeah, yeah. But
flagged.
nothing really
crazy happened.
During the time you were asleep, anyway.
I was so exhausted.
Yeah, but... Yeah, interesting, really interesting race from start to finish. So we're recording this before the Portugal Grand Prix, so we haven't seen it as of recording this podcast. And that race is coming up this coming weekend, which is going to be interesting. So I guess let's talk about Imola then. And recap that.
Oh my G.
So
how much time do you have?
I guess first things first. Let's start from the very top to the bottom. So the first thing is it was a wet race, right?
Which is my favorite race. So I'm gonna go back for a moment. So this is how our weekends go with watching races. It's literally like if we're at home, if we're at home.
You sound like the guy from Rounders. If we are at home, you pay that man his money. Like, what did he... We are like him, but we eat Oreos and, and shit.
So, if we are at home, I will wake up 15 minutes before the race just to brush my teeth and pop in my contacts. And Cam will get up a good 40 minutes before that or before me, and he'll
That's because I just don't like to rush.
Yeah, I know.
Morning.
He doesn't. You don't like to rush in the morning. So he will we make our breakfast beforehand, and he'll pour the coffee and put the Oreos out for us because that's our little thing, and then he'll set up with just making sure everything is here and that we've got water and we don't need to move for the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
So same thing happened. We weren't at home last weekend for Imola, but Cam wakes me up because I'm the worst person in the world to wake up when I've had no sleep, and goes, "It's a wet race." And I swear to God, my eyes just go. I love rainy races. Rainy races are so much fun.
I do and I don't.
I love them.
Go on.
In moderation.
This one was good though.
This one was good because, and we're going to get to this because this is something I wanted to talk about. Actually, no, I'm just going to talk about it now because I'm going to forget because there's so much to talk about.
Just take it easy, man. We got so much time. Just take your time.
Yelling at you again.
I know. God.
I'm so excited. So
You're getting
like
so excited for the pod.
it wasn't just that there were like crashes or whatever. Like it was truly that like it was the art of racing, right? So Daniel Ricciardo, actually, did you hear about this? Like recently
No.
was talking. He called F1 out on their shit.
What do you mean?
He was like, he called them out. I think it was Sky Sports or F1 as like the obvious like sports, like overarching agency. I don't know what word to describe that.
Yeah.
But he called them out and he said that the way that they broadcast F1 is almost like sensationalized because they show like, especially on like the top 10 like moments of 2020 or 2019, like 7 of them were the crashes. And he's like, there's way more to racing than crashes. Like you could talk about the overtaking, you could talk about just like behind the scenes, you could talk about the cars themselves, but like sensationalizing like just the crashes is definitely F1's way of being like, come watch us, like we're cool, like and
like there's these crazy crashes.
and Daniel was like, for maybe young people, like young children,
Yeah.
it's something where they're like, that's what they might want, but like actual like people who like enjoy F1, that's not why they tune in to see people crash. That's why you're tuning in. That's like really morbid.
But it depends. Like that's a good point though. But to Formula One's point, and this is kind of relatable to like UFC to a certain extent. Like there's some fighters that people would want to watch because they're what they call like MMA purists, right? Like there's some people who are totally fine with watching a UFC fight that's all like jiu-jitsu on the ground, right? But then other people want to watch like, you know, Francis Ngannou or in this case Kamaru Usman this weekend knock somebody out cold. Right? And they just want to see striking. So I get it. Like Ricardo's a driver and to him, he appreciates, you know, good overtakes and, you know, sticking to racing lines and like getting fast laps and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like with any of these sports, whether it's actual sports or motorsports, like it's entertainment at the end of the day, you know?
It is, but I think for like a sport that's gone so under the radar for so long.
Netflix brought it out though.
I know, but we already talked about that. Netflix really skewed the story. I think the thing that ticked me off the most was like the first time we watched it, we didn't know all of the racers. We didn't know their backgrounds. We didn't know when they would take sound bites from different races and weave them into circumstances where they weren't actually saying that, or like bringing up that whole thing between Carlos and Lando. Like that's not real.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is like, and so I think that a lot of like you heard Verstappen, he doesn't even give a care.
Yeah, he wasn't even in season 3.
He doesn't like Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
So I really think that like I understand Daniel Ricciardo's like thought process. It is a different sport as well. Like you don't just watch hockey to watch people get beat up.
Some people do.
But I mean, just saying like...
I mean, that's a good point. People don't. Yeah, you're right. But for some people, it is a big part of why they watch it.
For some people it is, but like it's like if this sport is on the up and up, why are you focusing on the crashes where you could be focusing on what they're doing to even the playing field for like budgeting these cars, about the history behind like Mercedes, Ferrari, Aston Martin. Like you could do so much more than just highlight the crashes. And I'm not just talking about like what happened with Mick Schumacher in, you know, Imola, where he like kind of crashed into the wall a little bit and got a bunch of damage and then like re-entered the race. Like that's different. That's like a highlight, right?
Yeah.
But like, you know, playing over and over what happened to Grosjean, or like playing over and over even just this week about what happened with Russell and Bottas, like they sensationalized the crash, but they didn't talk about like what would have been important is to talk about what happened because of that.
Yeah, I mean, to that point though, like for people who actually watch F1, I don't know too many casual F1 viewers. Almost everyone I know who watches F1 is like deep into F1, right? like, you know how UFC, you can casually watch it. Even hockey, basketball, football, Super Bowl, like people casually watch those things. But with F1, you can't really casually watch it because there is no like, I guess there's no like pinnacle like race or anything. It's like races are races, and at the end of the day, you're getting points throughout the entire season to see who wins championships at the end of the day. So it's like, they might be sensationalizing things, but I feel like most people don't really, who watch F1, to be honest, do not watch them for the crashes. Like crashes, and quite honestly, I don't think people like to see crashes.
No,
I don't like to see
breaking my
anybody
heart.
crash.
No, it freaks me out.
You know, when that whole Grosjean, like that was like terrifying for both of us to watch, I think. So it's like, yeah, it happens, you know, I understand. And it makes races interesting to a certain extent if somebody gets damaged and it slows them down and it mixes things up. Like, but you never ever want to see anyone ever get hurt.
Yeah.
You know, so.
With all of that said,
Yeah.
Mick Schumacher started Imola by basically putting it in the wall and then he put it in the wall next to the pit lane. So he couldn't even pit because the pit lane was closed.
Yeah, I guess he kind of like closed the pit lane.
He closed it for himself.
For everybody else.
So he was driving with this like half car. Like he had no front wing at all. It looked hilarious. And he kept going like around and around. And then he was like, I think waiting on the third time or the second time to go in. And then was finally able to go in, which I thought was, I don't know why I thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy. I think that was my favorite part of the beginning, is just like watching him with this like half car go around and around the Imola circuit.
Mick is struggling.
He is.
Mick is struggling this year a little bit. It's like, you know, like the first race we saw him come out and like, you know, it's kind of a gimme. The guy's new in F1. And then like second race, third, and then like now it's like the third race. I mean, I don't know how long it takes a driver to develop and figure things out, but and like, I don't know what it is. It's like he's in a Haas too. Maybe that's part of it, but and both cars. Like Mazepin's like all over the goddamn track.
Mazepin stinks.
But like with all that said, we can't say that though because this was a wet race, right? You have to give him some benefit of the doubt, right?
I give Mazepin benefit of the doubt that he stayed on the track through the first lap.
Yeah. It's rude.
No, but you know, honestly, you said this. I think
your boy Sergio Perez was all over the track too.
Sergio Perez,
you know,
had
your boy Hamilton was slipping and sliding like he's at, you know.
He's not my boy. That would be lame.
I don't know why I'm so
You're
like
so
aggressive
about
towards
him.
Hamilton for no. It just comes out.
I just need you to take like up here. Like we both are yelling. We need to take. Okay.
I'm not yelling. I'm just talking loud.
So Sergio Perez. No, let's like what you just said about Mick Schumacher. Actually, I think is important because I always chalk it up to, oh my God, they're new. Like this is a whole separate race. Look at Lando. Last year was his.
True.
You know what I mean? Like he hasn't been in Formula One very long. He's a young driver.
Yeah.
But from the get-go, he was doing really well. And then he didn't just pull an Albon where like he did well for like a race or two. He's consistently done well. And this year, he's gotten podium twice.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 races he's been on the podium.
Crazy. So I think you're right. I think Mick maybe, I don't know, I don't worry, but like, I do kind of think, is he just a name? Like, not just a name, but like I'm not surprised that he's not like blowing my hair back, like you say. Like I'm not surprised, but I'm also like a little disappointed because I expected more out of like, you know, Schumacher legacy.
With that said though, like Haas is probably one of the worst cars you can drive in F1 right now.
Next to a Williams, yes.
So there's that, you know, it's like, and he's in, you know, he's in Haas to get into Formula One, to be totally honest. He's not in Haas to win in Haas. He's in Haas so he can go to another team.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Gunter's going to like come and find you for saying that and chop your head off.
What do you mean? Gunter Steiner?
Gunter Steiner.
Gunter.
What did he say in Netflix? It was a shit day at the office.
I don't know what he said.
I can't do a German. No, that was Toto Wolff. Never mind. That was Toto Wolff when it was that like 100th race or whatever, and they all wore
Oh yeah, that was
the coveralls and
disastrous.
stuff. That was
They
hysterically
had
awful.
horrible race that day. I think both
Yeah.
drivers crashed.
Yeah, they did horrific. That's where Hamilton's like wing, and then he like went sideways into the pit lane, even though he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
I can't stand. I can't stay on focus. I'm too excited about this.
Okay, let's just bring this home. let's bring it back. So I mean, we're 20 minutes in. We're supposed to recap Imola right now. I guess we kind of are, but the Haas's all over the track as usual.
Sergio?
I don't even know. So, I guess first of all, if we take it back to quali, you know, Max Verstappen, right, on pole for this race. Yeah, Red Bull's interesting. They're quick this year. They are very fast this year. They're giving Mercedes a crazy run for their money. And obviously, if you're watching this, you guys saw the race, you saw the results. Max Verstappen won, you know. Lewis Hamilton miraculously made it into, second?
Yes.
And Lando Norris finished third. So we'll get into all that. But I guess to just start with, like Red Bull right now.
Is marking it.
Yeah, Red Bull is when it comes to Verstappen, they got something really interesting going this year.
He's got that juice.
Yeah, he's got the juice, as they say. Don't be taking my line. This is my line. You knew
I'm
it.
taking so much.
I'm gonna look at it on the video. You're just staring at me. Yeah, he's got the juice. So,
I talk like you now.
So, I find that really, really interesting. And he's a threat to Hamilton. And in this race, man, even right out the gates, because the way the grid is Hamilton's a little behind him.
Yeah.
So it's you never know where that can go depending on what kind of start you get off the front. If Verstappen doesn't get a decent start or you get some wheel spin, Hamilton could drift right in, but nope. And they were fighting through the first few turns and he held them off, and Hamilton went over that curb and was all over the place. But yeah, it was, that was pretty insane to see him just kind of pull away there.
Yeah. And
Hamilton kind of just drift back. But I think Mercedes, it's not like they can just win races this year.
No.
That's not going to be the case.
They need strategy, and they need skill in the driver.
Yeah.
And this is a great representation of how Bottas and Hamilton are different. You put two drivers in a Mercedes, okay? And they've got great engines, they've got great everything. But Bottas was unable to make it through the pack.
Oh.
You've never said this before.
You know why, though?
You've never said anything about this before.
Okay, I get it.
You can put anyone in a Mercedes and they'll do great. I've said this for years.
No, you're talking about, Bottas. For Imola, you cannot compare Bottas and Hamilton.
No, I'm not. Let me finish
because
my thought.
Your boy Russell decided to play bumper cars, in an F1 car.
Decided to play rickshaw with
He
him.
just decided, hey, Bottas, let's play bumper cars right now.
Yeah. And then
Bottas was no. He's yeah, we're going to do it. Okay, we're playing bumper cars. That's what Russell did. He's looking over. He's what is he doing? It's
he's what is he doing? What a bleep, bleep, bleep. He was so mad.
And then Toto Wolff is
sit down and shut the heck up.
Hold my handsomeness. Come over here. Let me talk to you.
Let me pour one out for the homies. I looked that up this week.
Yeah. I guess for Imola, point being for Imola, you can't, that's a gimme, Lewis Hamilton, you can't really, you never know, but you know what, you are right though, because Bottas did not do too well overall. I don't think he didn't do well in quali, and he didn't race well either.
Well, he didn't finish because half of his car was in the... And I mean, he didn't finish. And that was a terrible crash, actually. That was horrific. Like,
Yeah.
people were very surprised that Bottas was able to safely walk out
But
of an
what were you
accident
saying?
like that.
What were you saying?
What I
Your
was saying
point-
is that you were talking about the Red Bull power and how Mercedes is really going to have to, like, bring the power.
Yeah.
But the thing is that they have the power. I do wonder a little bit if their car is lacking or if it's just that Red Bull has taken what they have and really run with it.
Yeah.
And maybe Mercedes has kind of just stayed, like they've plateaued a little bit in regards to this model of their car.
Yeah.
Especially because they don't have the DOS system anymore. You know, you wonder a little bit
Yeah, they
about how
took
that
DOS away.
changes stuff,
Yeah,
you know, for
yeah.
them. But I also think what it is that you have to bring the skill of the drivers. So what I mean by that is that Bottas and Hamilton have comparable cars, okay? And people argue all the time about if Hamilton has a
they have
better
the same
car, whatever.
I
But
think they have the same one.
I believe they have the same car, but
Yeah.
you should see the four
For
and
the, it should be for the most part.
People really like fight about that stuff. But anyways, you see like Bottas, the way that he kind of like scampers to try to get from like he was a ninth upwards to Hamilton, who, yes, had luck on his side,
Yeah.
but was able to come from, I think it was like 14th or something or 11th up to second. Now, let's not talk about the fact that like, okay, they red flagged the race because Hamilton put it in the wall right before Russell and Bottas connected and made their collision.
Yeah.
Let's talk about when he put it in the wall, how he was able to drive it out with minimal damage.
Yeah.
That does take skill. So you have to see that Mercedes has a great car, but their drivers, their skill sets are so vastly different.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like what Max and Albon used to be. Like
Yeah.
Max is a skilled driver. Albon would be like a reactionary driver.
Yeah, that's definitely apparent, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and like, it's an interesting conversation because, like, yeah, this weekend was a prime example. Save Russell, like, smashing into Bottas. Like, that was a very good example. Like, Bottas could not get the car up in quali, and he couldn't move through the grid in the actual race itself.
Yeah.
And you have Hamilton, who's off the track. Although, you know, like MVP Bottas red flags a race for him. You know,
Always
driver
a
of the day,
bridesmaid.
as they like to say.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Bottas and Russell crash, race is red flagged. Lewis is allowed to unlap himself.
Yeah.
So if you're in the Mercedes, you know, and you're allowed to unlap yourself and it's a red flag, right? And you restart, like, yeah, I'm not saying it's like easy for him to move through the grid, but, you know, he obviously, like, and I've never said like Hamilton isn't skilled or anything. He's obviously one of the most skilled drivers, and he shows that going for, like, doing what he did, right? The guy is very talented, but no, like that's a good point. I mean, and we talked about this in length before, where it's just like, you know, Bottas is just, you know, he's just not as talented. And the same thing could be said with, if you look at Red Bull, you know, you have Verstappen in there. And, you know, we saw Daniel was very, you know, he had a lot of success in Red Bull. And, you know, he's one of those drivers who does have a lot of skill.
Watch what you're about to say.
And then Albon jumped in, right? They put Albon into Red Bull. And you saw that, you know, you saw where it's just like, it's like the boys from the men. Yeah. You know, like, it's like you're just not in the same league, right? And we have Sergio Perez in there right now. And I think Perez is showing that he is showing like flashes of brilliance. But, you know, I feel like Perez in Red Bull is kind of the same way I feel about Ricciardo and McLaren, and also to a certain extent Sainz and Ferrari, you know, to a certain extent. And maybe we can throw in Yuki Tsunoda and AlphaTauri, you know, in there as well. Like, all these guys are showing that they got, you know, that they have pace and they have skill in the cars that they're in. But I think it's going to, I don't know if we'll really see it until like halfway through the season maybe, you know.
I would say that Perez is and all those second drivers you're talking about, they're scrappy. Like Perez,
Yeah, he
Perez
is.
is like
I like
a
how he
true
drives, though.
scrappy driver. Like,
Yeah.
poor thing. I mean, and I know, I get it. Like, I'm biased because I really like Perez. I root for him. I root for the underdog last year. Not knowing if he was going to have like a seat was getting more and more like heartbreaking to me because I can see like what greatness he does have. He can come from behind. Like, he really can.
Yeah.
And like, it just stinks because I feel like sometimes he's such a just scrappy driver that he forgets about the rules. Like, he overtook 2 cars during a safety car and got a 10-second penalty for that.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know if that was just, do you think that was him just like, because he's a scrappy driver, or maybe he legit thought like, because yes, the rule is you're not allowed to overtake during a safety car. I thought maybe he felt, oh, I was overtaken, so I can take the spot back. I didn't think he did it like, I think he was just like, oh, I should just go back to where I was.
No, I know. I'm not saying it was, see, the thing is a lot of people look at it and they're like, that was malicious, like he should know better, because every time like we say, oh, Hamilton should know better, Hamilton should know the rules like the back of his hand, it's because we hold them to different esteems. We hold Lewis to this pedestal of esteem, and then we see this scrappy driver, and we're like, oh my gosh, like, Perez, come on, man, just get it together. Like, he literally like spun off. He like he got that 10-second penalty. His race was all over the place, but I really think that he is someone who is going to develop with Red Bull, and I hope that Christian Horner and the rest of the Red Bull team give him the opportunity to develop in Red Bull.
Yeah.
Because I really think he's a great driver. Now, Yuki Tsunoda is another scrappy driver.
Yeah.
I think that all these scrappy new drivers maybe just need a little bit of time.
Yeah. I think Yuki is like, he's a young kid. Yeah, you need like some maturity, you know, like not in the sense of like he's and like not his personality.
Yeah.
You just need to like grow in a car and like understand like patience too in F1.
Yeah.
A little bit, you know, and because Lewis has a lot of that. Mm-hmm. Lewis is very methodical. He's very, and so is Verstappen to a certain extent.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a lot of patience and everything.
He used to be a little hot-headed, more hot-headed. Yeah.
It's like that level of focus. That's really what it is. It's like extreme focus and understanding that it's like you're doing like 50 some odd laps like every race. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like you have time. Yeah. You know, just getting around the track quickly, putting in quick sectors and quick lap times will win you the race, you know.
And you know, it's crazy because these like young drivers, they have so much to learn, and I see a lot of development in them, like Lando, for example.
Yeah.
He's still got that like kind of immaturity.
But he's growing. He definitely is.
No, I mean like immaturity like in personality, and it's very like charismatic, but in racing, he has literally put his head down.
Yeah.
And a lot of that hot-headedness that he used to have has ebbed away a little bit.
Yeah.
But unpopular opinion, I'm not a fan of George Russell after this race. I think that him being a junior driver for Mercedes has gone to his head.
You know what? You know who else wasn't a fan?
Toto.
Your boy Toto Wolff. So, little birdie flew in and told me a little tidbit of information. I don't know if this is like public knowledge or not, but after it is, but I don't know how many people know this, but after the crash with Bottas, Toto Wolff pretty much, and like I'm not quoting, but he was pretty much like he has a better chance of racing like, and he named some kind of like rally car league than he does racing in F1 for Mercedes. Like Toto was pissed. And they were saying like there was a little bit of truth to what he was saying. He was pretty much like really pissed off that like George Russell completely wrecked Bottas's he wrecked the car.
It's like a $1.2 million car or something.
Huge repair job, right? Just because like, you know, Russell was trying to pass Bottas. Yeah, like, you know, and I mean, you know, they were saying like he was saying like, oh, he like squeezed him and this and that and da-da-da, and you know, but Toto's always going to say, like, you're the Mercedes development driver. Like, why are you trying to pass Bottas? Da, da, da. Like, there's a lot going on there, but...
He's like the headmaster.
And shortly after that, and I sent you this on Instagram, right? That Russell was like released some kind of. At first, he was pissed and he was so upset, and that's the story he was spinning. And then after Toto was just like, hey, bro, like, you want to race in this Mercedes? Cause watch what your mouth. Watch your mouth. Watch what your mouth is saying.
Break your face.
Yeah, like. So after that, Russell was just like, oh no, sorry, I'm sorry.
I'm so sorry to my country.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So sorry. No,
Yeah.
that's Canadian.
Yes, yeah, whatever. After that, he changed his tune real quick.
He changed it. He issued this huge apology.
Yeah.
This like lamenting apology. Honestly, I really feel like, and I know that this is like nothing off of anyone else's back, but I feel like George Russell has a long way to go, in my perspective, before he's able to be a Mercedes driver. Like, I feel like Lando Norris has more. I mean, look at that. Like, look at the recap. Like, he hits him on top of the head, and
I think he was giving him a love tap. And
yeah.
then Bottas was just like, you know what, I'm just going to flip you off.
But Gummo, when you got out, when we were watching this, you were like, he looked ticked.
Who?
Russell.
Yeah.
You were saying that, and I thought that he was just going over to like check on him and make sure he was okay.
That's what I thought too, because Russell's not one to become a hothead. He's
feel
usually
like
very calm.
I feel like over the radio, he bleeps everybody and their mother out.
Really?
I really do. It's an unpopular
like
opinion.
they
I don't
all
like
do
Mr.
too.
Saturday. I really don't like him. I'm not a big fan after.
Got a sour taste.
For the last couple of weeks, I've just noticed that he's all talk and no game. Like, you're driving a Williams, for God's sake. Like, do you know what I mean? You like talk about like Haas, you talk about Mazepin, and you talk about Mick Schumacher. I'm not a fan of Mazepin under principle, but like, you don't see them like running their mouth about like, whatever. Mick could run his mouth about his big name and stuff. He doesn't.
Yeah.
You have to have you need to keep your head down and just race sometimes.
Yeah.
When they red flagged that race, it was just crazy. You could see Hamilton was just like so broken up about what had just happened.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this kind of circles back to that whole idea of maturity. Because, like, Russell is, if not, is he the youngest driver in Formula One right now?
Who?
George Russell. He's young. I don't know if he's the youngest.
I thought Lando was younger than him.
Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah, that's right. But, I mean, Russell is still pretty young. Like, he does come off as mature in some aspects, but, like, he's still a young kid.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you know what I mean?
He's a young guy
maybe
too.
he's having, like, some, young kid reactions. But, I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to say because you have to be kind of aggressive and tenacious in Formula One. But, like, bro, if you're, like if he was that, if he felt like he really could have, passed Bottas there,
He would have been able to.
get DRS on the guy and do it another time when it's safer. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, how many laps did you have left? Like, it was half the race left. And the guy tries to, like, but that's what people were saying, is they're like, oh, Russell's out there trying to prove something.
That's
like, he's
what
got
I'm
something
saying.
to prove.
That's all
but
I'm
it's like,
saying.
you're going to drive yourself out of a Mercedes seat.
Okay, look at this. You see people, so like, okay, when you can't pass somebody, you wait until the next lap, or you wait until the next turn, or you wait until you have patience.
Yeah.
Because
that's how Lewis wins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how he got from X to second,
Yeah.
So what he did is he passed Leclerc. Leclerc was acting as like a savior between Lewis and Norris, basically holding him off.
Yeah.
And then the only reason Norris didn't make it is because he knew he was going to have tire problems. He wasn't managing his tires as well as he could have, and he knew he was going to have tire problems. But like, Lewis stayed on. He knew when to pass. He knew how to pass. He knew when to push it, when not. If he didn't have DRS, he tried again.
Yeah.
You see this even Max Verstappen in the last race, as he was trying to get a hold of Hamilton, he knows when to pull back and when to push forward. And that's what you need to have as a good driver. Again, you can't be a reactionary driver. You have to be a proactive driver.
Yeah.
I need to know that my end goal is getting first place, but I can't say that I'm going to get first place on this lap. That has to be my end goal. How am I going to get there?
Yeah. I think that makes sense for a lot of drivers, but when you're top three like when you're top 5, yeah, I get it. Then it can be a different story, unless unless you're Lewis Hamilton.
He looks like Santa Claus.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God.
Lawrence Stroll looking straight up like Santa Claus over
Like
here.
he's like,
He
he looks
legit
like that
looks-
guy from that commercial.
He legit looks like he's about to like go start giving gifts to everybody.
Doesn't
right
he
now.
look like that Santa Claus, like that cool Santa Claus from that car commercial that you showed me?
Oh, the fashion Santa?
Yeah, he looks like Fashion Santa, doesn't he?
Yeah, fashion Santa decided to eat like a bunch of burgers, pretty much. You know,
And get a tan.
if fashion Santa just sat on the couch, you know.
Oh my God.
God, yeah, no, he's straight up. He turns so gray.
Yeah.
He's not even gray. He's like white.
White. He's
You know,
white
people
now.
go like
yeah,
straight up
his
white.
hair is white now.
That's crazy, man. How do you go white so fast? He wasn't white before.
I don't know. I feel like that happens.
And
to
I don't think he
people.
was like dying. Yeah, maybe it's like you hit a certain age and you go
Yeah.
straight up white. But
Yeah.
if you look at though, like, so one interesting thing I wanted to bring up is like, okay, despite all the craziness that happens, despite the crashes and, you know, people slipping out and everything, because it was a wet race and there were a lot of drivers who went off of the dry line and just ended up spinning off the track. But despite all that, because if you look where everyone is sitting here, is like a lot of them, like you have like Perez up there, you have Sainz up there, you have, you know, like the pretty much the usual suspects of the drivers who are doing really well, like Lando Norris, even Daniel Ricciardo was up there, like after they like before everything happened, right? But a lot of these drivers are like, they're still doing like very, very well.
Yeah.
You know, like as you'd expect. And I'm like a little surprised with, quite honestly, with like the pace of like even the Ferraris. Like the Ferraris are fast
They're
this year.
back. They're
You
back.
know, you got like Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, Perez, Sainz, Ricciardo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was good. It was good. You know,
Like
AlphaTauri
that's pretty damn good, man. Yeah, Yuki
is
Tsunoda.
struggling. No,
yeah.
AlphaTauri itself, like Gasly's struggling a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, Yuki, the thing is, I want to just see Yuki in a race, like with no issues, and just like, I just want to see him race.
He was 10 positions up and then just literally
Yeah, spun out.
gone.
But see, the thing is, I think, I don't like, I mean, I can't entirely remember, but I think they said he kind of drifted onto some wet,
Yeah.
and then he was like,
At least he stayed in the race longer than like Latifi, who like literally, I don't even remember how many laps in, just like put it in the wall.
yeah.
These damn Canadians, man. Just got a snide remark.
That's such a typical American joke. Yeah, it's Canadians. Meh.
Well, like, we're not having a race in your home country, are we?
Anyway, back too close to home.
I know. Too soon.
close to home.
Too soon. It's so sad. Turkey instead.
Yeah.
Istanbul.
So, should we just jump into that then?
I mean, that's basically all there is. Canada's done.
Yeah. So,
It goes like. Actually, that's too soon to make that joke.
what?
Not gonna make it.
What joke?
It's not gonna make it.
What joke?
It's in poor taste. This is a family show.
Oh, jeez.
No, but it's like, it is what it is because of like COVID and everything. Like, I wasn't surprised. I was honestly like waiting for Canada to get canceled.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
all it is. It's
yeah.
just, there's nothing more to say about that. But what is interesting is the sprint qualifying.
Oh, yeah. Sprint
I'm
qualifying.
not happy about it, but
How did we even... Yeah, so sprint qualifying is what? Because I don't even fully understand.
do you want me
it.
to explain it to you?
Yeah.
And then I'm probably going to get it wrong, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So I have to close my eyes for this because this is how I think. So what happens is you still have practice,
Yeah.
like one, and then instead of Saturday qualifying, you have a sprint qualifying, okay?
Yeah.
So you do a sprint qualifying, which is like 100 kilometers.
Race, right?
Yes.
So how do they determine where people get on the grid there?
Oh, I forgot. I just literally looked this up.
It's weird. It's essentially a shorter race to determine the grid spots for the actual race, right?
Yes. It's It's so ridiculous, but it's interesting because I don't like it because I think it's literally just another sensationalized thing to like get fans and like
That's what
again,
they said too.
I don't like it. And like I don't think the drivers like it either. So they're going to do it 3 times this year at 3 Grand Prix. I'm not a fan of it because I just think, okay, so first of all, you have to start on soft. Okay, you have to start on soft tires. You still have to use 2 compounds during the race, but you have to start the sprint qualifying on soft tires.
Yeah.
Okay, and it just doesn't make sense to me because
Well, I think they said you can use whatever compound you want
wait
on sprint quality.
No, on sprint quali you have to use soft, I thought. But then at the start of the race you can use whatever you want, but you have to use 2 compounds.
Oh.
And that's how it changes because usually during qualifying it's like during like this Q2 you have to use whatever you use to get into that qualifying into, you have to use that tire. That always still makes my mind blow a little bit. But
I don't like that. I don't like that. It makes why would you race to qualify for the race? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
like at least in quali, it's like it's just okay. The performance of the car will dictate where you line up on the grid. Like that makes sense. Like and it can be argued about how there was a argument for like a reverse grid. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yes, I remember that. I was just gonna say that.
That was something that was floated like I think many, many years ago or whatever. But when you're dealing with the thing with races is like shit happens during races.
Yep.
People crash, people slip, people slide, people bump, you get damaged, It's like like I don't know if I like the fairness of it just because it can get a little messy. And it's like I get it. Okay, you want to make it like entertaining to people, but it's like I don't know, man. You never know, actually. You know what? We might see sprint quality and we might see like some unexpected people, unexpected drivers like make it up to the top. Maybe it'll be cool. Maybe George Russell will play bumper cars with Lewis Hamilton.
Correct. That would be not fun.
But
no, okay, so wait, we need to read this because I think that this makes more sense. So what happens to qualifying is that the 1-hour session split into 3 segments will be a part of the show still, but it will move to Friday, giving the first day of track action to some like type of event, whatever. The plan is to move the session later in the day to make it easier for fans who are working to watch the session. The tire rules will change for this session with only soft tires permitted. As a result, teams and drivers will be free to start Sunday's race on any compound rather than exactly what I said, having to run the tire that they qualify on Q2. So practice is still going to be there. It's just 2 different ones, each lasting an hour. So one will take place on Friday, and then they're figuring it out. So but I just think that they're making this more confusing, and it's like, to be honest, if it isn't broke, do not fix it.
You know what though? We've never seen sprint quali, so we can't knock it until we try it. So I'm a little skeptical, but let's see how it goes. I think it has the potential to be entertaining. It has the potential to be chaotic, and maybe it does have the potential to be fair in certain circumstances. But let's just see how it goes. I'm curious to see, because obviously this idea was pitched to the FIA and they're like, yeah, let's run with it. So
it was by the managing director, like Braun or something.
Maybe they see something there that's, kind of promising.
It's their marketing pitch. It's like their targeted audience. Like they're going to roll. So by the way, I also was just quickly speed reading that. They're rolling it out at 3 Grand Prix, but we don't know which ones yet. They haven't announced them.
Yeah, we'll see. They could just scrap the whole thing too. They're saying this right now. They could just they introduced it with this random thing. It was going to be 3. They can always reverse it back to normal qualifying.
Do you remember what I said? So we were trying to talk about this during the week, but I was getting very upset about it. Ooh, I just feel like just like what you said. So many things happen during races already, and it's like you're putting undue stress on an already like financially stressed grid. Like, you're trying to save money, but, like, during a sprint qualifying,
yeah,
how aggressive are people going to be? Like, they want to get to pole. They don't give a crap about who they're going to have to edge out. Of course, they're going to try to be, like, smart about it.
Yeah.
But, like, you're literally asking these drivers to mimic a mini race.
Which they're not going to do. If I was a driver, I'm not going to risk smashing my car just to pass the guy to get one more spot up on the grid. I would rather take the
Really?
risks. Yeah, I would rather take the risks in the
Let's
race.
see what happens.
If it's going to mean one spot and you could damage your car and screw yourself out of the race the next day, yeah, it's okay. I'll chill and I'll get that spot on the race. I'll
Yeah.
get that
Let's
like
put
on
you in
race
an
day.
F1 car.
You know, so
I don't think the rest of these people feel that way. And on top of it, you get world champion points.
yeah.
So you get for
Which makes
qualifying
things
in
interesting.
first, second, and
But-
third, you get
but-
3, 2, 1.
But yeah, to the point what I was making, they have to incentivize it. They can't just have these guys. Yeah, that's the
Go
thing,
all
right?
out.
That's what they're doing. Because like you can't have the mentality I was saying and just float around and be like, "Oh, I'll get it at the race," because they're like, "Hey,
These are points.
you got points up for grabs too."
That could be 9 points.
You know?
Right now, 1 point separates Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
And that could be a qualifying point.
And the drivers' championship could come down to like something
Points.
just that close.
Literally just mild points.
But
like
look at
couples.
this, look at this standing right now. Lap like 56. You got Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, Hamilton. Obviously, we know how
Yeah.
the story ends. Sainz, Ricardo. Gasly, Stroll, Gasly.
Raikkonen.
I mean, it was a wet
Yeah.
race, and we have to like take that into account. But the Ferraris are quick.
They're killing it.
The McLarens are quick.
Honestly, I feel like Stroll. I feel like we haven't seen enough of Stroll yet, and I really think that'll. I don't know what's going on with him.
Red Bulls are quick. Perez is having some issues here and there, yes, but he's fast. Verstappen clearly, obviously, is fast. So it's like shaping up to be. I like this, man. Ferrari like kind of got their pace back. McLaren's doing something right. Red Bull's definitely obviously up there, and Mercedes has a bit of a fire under their butt this year. So
I really like to see Red Bull and McLaren and Ferrari and Mercedes at the top of their game, really pushing it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so nice to see that these aren't just like Mercedes picks you off and then Hamilton is running in free air by himself. Because that just got
that gets real
so
old. Yeah.
But and this is my qualm with the FIA, okay, is that they make changes like they did, and they're making changes towards like not equalizing, but making it a little bit more simple for budgeting across the board, and it's going to take time for them to get there. But like then they just throw in this like nonsense like sprint qualifying and awarding points and blah blah blah. It's like, to be honest, you don't really need all that much incentive to watch F1. And I don't know if it's in the best interest of the drivers. I need to figure out how they even set up the grid for the sprint qualifying. Because it's like,
yeah.
how does that make sense? Like,
I don't know if I
don't
read
get
something
it.
where it's like they have to do regular quali to qualify for sprint quali, and then sprint quali qualifies them for the race.
it's like,
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think you might be right.
I don't even really, because it's like you have to fairly create the grid
Yeah.
for the sprint quali. I have a feeling, I think that was it. I don't know entirely exactly what, but like if you want to make it, if the whole point is to make F1 more interesting, just add more DRS zones, bro.
Yeah, seriously, that's all you need.
Just add more DRS
Add more
zones.
passing areas.
Or say like, yeah, or if you want to, it's like for the bottom for the bottom 5 drivers, you get DRS the whole race. Like imagine that. Just unlimited DRS. Straight up. How crazy would that be?
Latifi would still put it in the wall.
Damn. Hamilton would probably like qualify 50
I know.
just so he could get DRS the entire way.
He'd like forget how to use a car.
That'd be hilarious. But
I didn't even
seriously,
know this. I
like
missed
don't
that.
mess with the quali,
I
because I
know.
think quali's
I really
pretty
like quali.
good.
I
Unless you
really
want to
like
do
it.
like reverse grids and stuff like that or whatever.
I still think that's it. I feel like you should. I think the qualifying that, again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because the qualifying that they have right now is based on merit for the most part.
Yeah.
Unless, like, of course, your session gets yellow, flagged, and then you have to slow down at the third leg, and, you just get screwed over, which it does happen. But, like, I just feel like This gives the drivers, the mechanics, the teams, like they have a deadline. They have to have the car ready by this time.
Yeah.
Now Parc Fermé is like all over the place. It goes up until Sunday, except for the suspension and the brakes. It's so confusing. You're complicating things in a sport where there's already so many rules, like with track limits. Like maybe we should freaking define track limits.
Yeah. And the thing is like, because you and I, we love watching quali.
Yeah.
Quali is so exciting because like you see these guys and you're like, you know, like they're driving and you're like, yo, is he fast enough? Is he fast? And then like you see them shoot up the grid, like on the, you know, on their times and whatnot. But it's like, I don't know if we're really going to see that during sprint quali. Like it'll be exciting, I suppose. I mean, we're going to have to see, but I mean, I guess maybe we're just, you know, as human beings, we don't like change. You know, maybe it's just we're just like resisting it because it's different. Maybe they'll do sprint quali and it'll be like the dopest thing we've ever seen. We don't know.
I just know what I like. You know what I mean? It's like cold brew on a Saturday morning. I know what I like. You know, again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And I do feel that way. I like that practice is kind of chill, and then quali gets you going, and then it's race time on Sunday. Right now, I feel like the driver's gonna do practice, then quali, then sprint quali, then race, and it's just a mini race. And I really think it's eating a lot of resources. But you know what? We'll see. When it first happens, like I'll be the first one to say, oh, I was wrong and it was a lot better than it was or whatever. I just don't think I'm going to be there.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, overall, like, I don't know. I still kind of hold the same thought I had that like I'm really impressed by McLaren, Ferrari, AlphaTauri, obviously Red Bull. You know, all these guys are really quick. They show a lot of promise. I think Imola you kind of have to take with a grain of salt because it was a wet race.
Yeah.
When it comes to wet races, anything can happen. I guess that's what makes them exciting. But you know, anybody like even Lewis Hamilton was off the track.
Yeah.
You know,
he was so like pretentious about it. He goes, I rarely make mistakes, but and I'm like, okay, but you did make one.
It does make sense though, like.
Because it was a wet race.
But he doesn't make mistakes. That's why he is the greatest, right? He's like if you look at like majority of people in sports who are the greatest, like Tiger Woods. Mm-hmm. I know you don't watch golf that much, but watching Tiger Woods play golf when he was in his prime, like in the 2000s, was amazing. Like he was and that's literally what it was. Like he did not make mistakes.
Look, almost isn't Rain the great equalizer? Look how amazing Max did. You have to also believe that a component of it is luck.
See, the thing
is, a component of it is skill.
I don't think Rain equalized Max. I think Max is just fast this year. I think he's giving Lewis a straight up run for his money this year. Yeah. It's not like if you look at it right here, how we're seeing like where the grid is right now. You know, with Hamilton in second, Norris, the Ferraris. You know, Ricciardo, Stroll, Gasly, like I think that's a pretty decent representation of how, you know, everything is kind of shaping up. Like these guys are all quick, and I think on any given day, like the top 8 could shift. Yeah. To any one of them being like they could all rotate, you know, for the most part. You know, obviously you have Verstappen and Hamilton. You're expecting to see those guys top 3, top 5 almost every race. But you never know, man.
Why am I surprised
Leclerc,
that Bottas wasn't in the top 10?
Yeah,
not surprised.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
don't know what that was all
right?
about. Yeah,
you forget about him.
Yeah,
I don't hate on the guy. I actually think Bottas is like, I have nothing wrong with him as a person or as a driver. I just forget about him.
Yeah.
But it's great to see that interchangeability between Leclerc, Sainz, Ricciardo, Gasly, Stroll, you know, and Hamilton and Norris, of course, and Verstappen. But it's nice to see that there are about 8 to 10 drivers that are truly interchangeable. Yeah. To an extent, of course, and that they're all competing. Like I think one of my favorite parts of the last race was seeing Leclerc, Norris, and Hamilton fight for second. Yeah, I really want to see Ricciardo and Sainz get competitive. Yeah. That would be so interesting to me. I think the next race in Portugal, is going to show us where the cars are and where the drivers are at their development status.
Yeah.
You know, I expect to see Yuki Tsunoda stay on the track. I expect to see Perez up in the top 8 to 10. I expect to see him there.
Yeah. I think we'll see him higher.
I expect to see him.
I think we'll see him like above like 8. I think Perez has the potential to be top 5. He just needs to, Imola, he slipped off the track, If he can keep it together, I think he can easily be top 5.
Yeah.
Like, easily top 5.
I can't argue with that.
But I guess to, like, kind of move things along, like, that was the race itself. The one big announcement that Formula One made is that they are going to Miami.
Florida.
Miami's just got that really cool, like, like I went to Miami once as a kid, but it has a very, like, big, like, sports exotic car culture there.
Yeah.
Like, cars there, sports cars, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, like, exotic cars there are, like, a big thing. Like, the car culture in Miami is huge, and it's just a very cool vibe, like, very posh, lavish, like, young, like, city vibe, and it's a really cool place to have. Formula One, like, seems like it fits there very well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see F1 there. We definitely need to go.
Oh, yeah. I've been to Miami.
That would be so,
I went to Miami when I was in university.
So sick.
So much fun.
Just to be in the city during an F1 race would be so
That would
nuts.
be such an easy, doable one.
Yeah.
I would love to say, like, Montreal or whatever.
Yeah, we
but
could get down to
that's not
Florida,
happening.
like, no problem.
Florida is super easy.
Yeah.
We have a lot of friends down there, too.
Yeah, so that, and then, as we were saying, Canada has been, I guess, canceled fully now. They're not going to take an F1 race there. I think it's, I think, quite honestly, it's just because
I know it.
of the, obviously the Canada has some of the strictest travel restrictions in the world when it comes to the pandemic. So I think for them just to get all of their personnel into Canada to don't finger draw a tear down my face. It's so rude.
Stroll and Latifi were like, we felt bad for the fans. I'm like,
yeah, no, it's just ridiculous. We're not even gonna really get into that, but that country,
restrictions are difficult.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's gonna be okay. Maybe next year.
Yeah, they need to figure out
or maybe 2024.
They need to figure out their stuff.
Yeah.
But
I'm really excited for next week, or for this weekend, excuse me. I'm so excited. I can't wait to watch the race. I'm actually hoping for no rain. I like rain like once in a blue moon, but I don't like it obviously every race. What is it? The rain in Spain is mostly in the plains.
What?
It's like a whole like rhyme. Hi, I'm teaching you something. It's like the rain in Spain falls mainly in the plains. It's something. It's like a rhyme of something.
Don't know what you're talking about. So, yeah,
it's like a thing.
So I guess we have Portugal coming up on the weekend.
Should be interesting.
You have predictions?
I think it's so difficult to do predictions not watching qualifying today.
True.
So we are going to be watching qualifying as it happens, but we're likely going to be on the road. So I don't really have qualifications for qualifying predictions. That just seems like a really long sentence. I think that honestly it does matter, and this is why I think that qualifying matters so much, because I feel like it's an accurate representation of where the cars are at, where the drivers are at. Like, Vettel wasn't doing the greatest during qualifying. He didn't do the greatest during, the actual race itself. So I don't have any predictions. I'll throw it out there, like, Verstappen, Lando, Sainz. But, we don't know. I would love to see Hamilton not even finish in the top 3.
I think God, Hamilton, a hater over here. I think we're going to see the usual suspects. The thing I like about this year is, like, you kind of can't really, Verstappen, Hamilton, but the rest of it is really, like, up in the air. You don't really know, which makes things really, really interesting. So
I get so nervous every single time because Verstappen had such a horrible beginning to 2020.
Yeah.
he was like DNF, and then it was just like such a mess. So I always hold my breath because I really feel like he was out of the world championship early on because of how many DNFs he had and just the amount of terrible races he had. And a lot of it had nothing to do with like his qualifications or like his driving. It was just like car issues or whatever. And so I just really want to see him do well because I feel like he's really put in the work, and you want to see people who've put in the work do well, you know? Just like Hamilton did. He put in the work and he's done well.
Yeah.
Hamilton has no desire to retire this year. He's like in it. Like he like made a statement. Like I was reading about it.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what he does. His contract is up, but after this year, so we'll see what's up.
Well, Toto wants him to sign in the summer. Yeah. Which is like coming up.
That'll be interesting to see what happens.
They don't want it like waving over their head. Like he signed what, like a week before Bahrain?
Yeah.
That was dumb. I don't know how Toto Wolff even allowed that.
But he might change his mind, like given if he feels like, you know, Verstappen is very competitive and he feels like he has a legit, like actual legit challenge. I mean, he's always had a challenge with him, but like if he's actually being very much pushed to his limits, he might want to spend a few more years in F1 and just really test himself. But I mean, we'll see what happens. Should be a good race on the weekend.
Really looking forward to it.
Yeah. So should we just wrap this up?
I'm exhausted. I'm gonna go to bed and eat.
Yeah, man.
Eat and then go to bed.
You're gonna go to eat and then go to bed and eat?
That's actually like my dream come true. It's like being asleep, but like cereal.
Yeah, all right. Do what you gotta do, yo. So this is episode 3, the Imola recap. We will catch you guys on the next podcast. Make sure you subscribe here on YouTube, subscribe on Spotify, and we're also on a few more other platforms that I can't remember. Google Podcast for sure, I know. Anchor FM.
I don't even know what half
We're
of
on
this stuff
Spotify,
is.
and then we are also on YouTube. You can subscribe to my channel, or you can subscribe to the F1 My Life channel on YouTube, which I also created very quickly. That Priya I don't think even knows about.
I just sit here and talk.
So I'm gonna start uploading like all the videos and clips there.
Oh, nice.
So people can find us there. So make sure you subscribe, and yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know why I wave. Like there's somebody there, and it's like.
Because it's the video.